Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever had that feeling where time is just slipping right through your fingers? Like no matter how hard you try to just be in the present, the moment is totally gone before you even fully realize you're there? Well, I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we are tackling something that's going to completely rewire how you experience your own life, your own memories, and even your daily decisions. We're diving into a really fascinating unpublished thought experiment by language philosopher Bry Willis. He frequently drops these mind-bending ideas on the Philosophics blog, and his premise here is as simple as it is deeply unsettling. He argues that our everyday, intuitive understanding of time, specifically the present moment, is fundamentally flawed. Okay, let's just jump right into this. Now, did you miss it? I'm going to guess you probably did, because here is the glitch in our reality. The exact fraction of a second you heard me say that word, it had already vanished, completely into the past. As philosopher Bry Willis points out, the word now is actually incredibly overconfident. It acts like an absolute certainty, right? We say things like, now I speak, or now is the moment, acting as though we are cleanly capturing the present. We treat the word like a net that can catch the present moment and just hold it perfectly still. But Willis calls it out for what it actually is, a small fraud. By the time we recognize it, it's already a memory. By the time we speak it, it's just a trace. It pretends to be this immediate, self-evident slice of reality, but really, it's just a fleeting boundary marker. We are constantly trying to pin down a butterfly that has already flown away. Section 1. Time needs thickness. Let's start dismantling this idea of a pure, dimensionless present. So, for a long time, philosophers dreamed of the present as a sanctuary, a place of pure immediacy, totally free from the corruption of memory or expectation. But Willis shows us that's biologically and philosophically impossible. To get why, we look at the philosopher Husserl and his concept of retention. Retention is essentially how our brain keeps the just past alive in our current experience. Think about a sudden instantaneous flash of lightning. If your brain literally only experienced the pure present, that flash wouldn't even register. Your mind actually needs a fraction of a second to stitch the beginning of the flash to the end of the flash. It requires this mental structure of holding on to the immediate past just to recognize that an event occurred at all. Without retention, you don't have experience. You literally just have static. And immediately on the flip side of that coin, we have protension. This is the structure of anticipating what is about to arrive. Our brains are never just sitting still in a single isolated dot of time. We are always simultaneously leaning forward into what comes next. Think about walking up a flight of stairs in the dark. Think about that feeling of your raised foot right before it hits a step. Your brain is already living in the impact before the impact actually happens. You're mentally bracing for the physical sensation. That's protension. The future is actively bleeding into your present experience before the event has even physically occurred. Let's see how this builds into a totally everyday experience, like hearing a musical note. A musical note is never heard as an isolated, microscopic atom of sound. Think about your absolute favorite song. When you hear the chorus, you have the retention of the note that just played lingering in your mind, which gives it context. Then you have the actual perception of the acoustic sound hitting your eardrum right at that exact millisecond. And you have the protension, that active anticipation of where the melody is going next, totally ready for the beat to drop. Experience isn't a single isolated point. It's an organized passage. Time actually needs this thickness to be experienced at all. It has to be smeared across the past and the future for life to make any sense. Which brings us to Section 2, the myth of pure presence. Once we realize time has this necessary thickness, the whole idea of a pure now just completely shatters. Willis brings in the perspective of philosopher Jacques Derrida to really press on this wound. Derrida argued that because the now is always contaminated by what is not now, meaning the past and the future, it completely collapses as a sanctuary of certainty. The present arrives already marked by absence and delay. Think about why it is marked by absence. The very act of needing to label something now means it has already slipped away from you. Saying the word doesn't actually deliver the present to you. It's testifying to its disappearance. It's not an arrival, it's an inscription of a loss. You are essentially pointing at an empty chair and calling it a person. So, the absolutely crucial point here is how this affects our sense of human agency. We love to proudly declare our absolute autonomy. Imagine boldly marching into your boss's office and declaring, "I now decide to quit my job." We think of that now as this laser beam of pure free will. But that statement is actually just a flattering grammatical illusion. You aren't making a decision in a vacuum. When you make a decision now, you are actually doing a massive narrative compression. You're condensing your prior dispositions, the external pressures of your bank account, your current bodily state of stress, your personal history with that manager, and what you anticipate will happen when you actually walk out the door. The now of a decision is just a really convenient label we slap onto a massive, sprawling process that vastly exceeds any single moment in time. Section 3. The bureaucracy of time. If the present is a philosophical illusion, why is our entire world built around it? Seriously, think about the institutions that run our lives. Law, politics, bureaucracy, corporate management. They are entirely obsessed with timestamps and decision points. They desperately need a tractable, manageable now so they can file paperwork, assign blame, and close cases. Metaphysics demands this impossible purity from time. It wants an absolute foundation. But institutions, they just need a human coordination device. Bry Willis uses this beautifully vivid metaphor for the bureaucratic timestamp. He calls it a nail hammered into water. Just think about that imagery for a second. It is a desperate, absurd attempt to permanently fix something in place that is fundamentally flowing, slippery, and completely unfixable. Section 4. A practical fiction. This is where we reconcile the profound impossibility of the now with our everyday reality. Because even though the now vanishes the exact second we name it, it survives in our language because it is completely pragmatically indispensable. If your boss emails you and says, "Do it now," they aren't asking you to act within a dimensionless metaphysical instant. That would be completely impossible. You just freeze. What they mean, and what we all universally understand, is that you must act within an authorized window of urgency. Maybe it's 5 minutes. Maybe it's by the end of the day. The absurdity of corporate deadlines aside, the operational now isn't a singular point in time, it's a tolerance band. It's a stabilizing fiction that allows us humans to coordinate our actions, pass each other on the highway, build bridges, and basically survive. Think about the massive burden this single word carries across human thought. Everyone inherits the word now, but they are trying to solve totally different problems with it. The metaphysician desperately wants it to be a solid foundation, a true bedrock of reality. The phenomenologist, like Husserl, sees it as a flowing field of memory and anticipation, kind of like a river of experience. The deconstructionist, like Derrida, hears only the ghost of what has already left, the trace of a disappearing moment. And the institution? Well, it just converts it into a timestamp, files the paperwork in triplicate, and pretends the impossible problem of time has been completely solved so everyone can just go to lunch. And this brings us to Bry Willis's ultimate mind-bending conclusion. Whenever we invoke the word now, we aren't actually seizing the present. We are merely gesturing at its impossible purity from inside its own failure. The word works to coordinate us, yes, but it never actually delivers the pure present moment right into our hands. As well as so perfectly puts it, the now is always late to itself. Which leaves us staring down this final, pretty wild thought. If the present is a vanishing horizon, and every single now you experience is a mix of the just past and the about to arrive, so when exactly are you? Let that sink in. I highly recommend keeping this question in the back of your mind as you navigate the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the reality right in front of you.